Check 2, 1, 2.
Kill.
All right, welcome back. This is Graduated Podcast. Today, I have a very, very special guest. I'm very happy to have her on because she's a physiotherapist, and I have so many questions for physiotherapists. I think about them daily when I'm working out, when I'm walking, when I injure myself, which is usually every other week. And she's here to help us answer those questions and also tell us a bit about her life experience, becoming a physiotherapist, and also just day in the life and other fabulous experiences that physios go through daily. So this is Laura McNeil, everybody, our in-house physio.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll try to answer all the questions you have. We'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Ooh, they're burning.
Sounds like there's a lot.
They're burning.
Do my best.
Okay, easy ones first, though. So you grew up in Edmonton. First of all, actually, even before that, I met you last summer on the beach.
Yeah.
My first impression of you was, wow, this girl's really beautiful. And then I found out that you're also a physiotherapist, and I was like, wow, I really need to be this girl's friend.
I know. Then we were friends right away.
Yeah, and then it happened just like that.
Yeah. Easy as that.
Yeah, sometimes it's all it takes, folks.
Edmontonians find each other, I'm telling you.
We do.
Yeah.
Laura is literally wearing an Oilers hat as we speak
Got
in
to.
the studio.
Have to.
She figured this is the best outfit to wear today. Proud Oilers.
Yeah.
Honestly, once you grew up in Edmonton, you bleed oil. It's just how it goes.
It's true.
Or as it sounds, never mind. Anyways, proud Oilers fans here.
Oh, yeah.
No shame. Okay, so Laura, where did you go to school? So you grew up in Edmonton.
Grew up in Edmonton. I went to University of Alberta my first year.
Doing what? Like sciences or just general?
It was just physical education.
Okay.
And then I transferred to Oregon State University.
Okay.
I was on the rowing team down there.
Yeah, right.
For 3 years. And then finished up there. I worked actually on Vancouver Island for a year, just doing some random stuff. And then went back to University of Alberta, but actually through the Calgary campus. So it was a smaller campus, like a satellite one.
Okay.
And then did my master's program there. So it's about 2.5 years. And then you work as a physiotherapy intern for about 6 months.
Right.
So did that in Edmonton. Kept going back to Edmonton.
Yeah.
Finally
That's
left.
an easy
Never going
place to
back.
go.
Never going back
Yeah.
again. But
Hey, don't say that.
yeah, and then you take a written exam and then a clinical national exam, and then you can become fully licensed.
Okay. So your time in Oregon, that must have been wild. Like, were you on a scholarship there, or was that just...
Yeah.
So you're really good at... How did you even get into rowing?
So Edmonton Rowing Club, actually. It's
Really?
really close to where I lived, yeah.
Like the North Saskatchewan?
Oh, yeah, right by the zoo.
What, you dodging dead bodies in there? Like,
That's water you don't want to fall into.
no,
That's
my
for
friend.
sure.
Have you fallen in?
I don't think so, actually. Not there, no.
Okay, good. Because I'd be
But-
like, you must be radioactive.
Yeah, no, my uncle actually, he rowed at Oregon State. That's how I kind of became interested in school. So I
Oh,
just sent
interesting.
in all my, like, erg scores. So the rowing machine.
Right.
Yeah, and then I went down there, and it was insane.
Absolutely lit it up. But did you compete in any, like, national championships or anything? Like, I don't know.
So we were in the Pac-12 conference.
Okay.
So NCAA Div 1.
No big deal.
So, like, we were in, like, that, like, one of the hardest divisions. We made it to nationals once, but other than that, we weren't the greatest.
Hey, but you know what? Doesn't matter.
Still fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I never really heard about rowing until I went to UBC and I was wandering around there. And these people were just like, please join the rowing team. Like, they were so
You're
desperate
tall.
for rowers.
Yeah. Like, get
And
in here.
I looked at them and I'm like, is this, I don't know. When people are running around telling me to do stuff on the street, I just kind of immediately think, that's probably a bad idea. But now I regret it because I'm like, you
think
did
you would've
rowing.
been good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I probably would have been really good at this. Maybe I missed out. I just thought everything was a cult.
We can go get a boat.
Like, anyone who's running up to me being like, hey, have you heard about this new thing? I'm like, it's a cult. I'm not going to do that. But it was rowing and it was a sport and I should have just done it.
Should have done it. We could have been in a boat together. It
We
would
could
have
have
been great.
been, we could have been
Dynamic
taking over the
duo.
world.
Yeah.
But you know what? We do other sports together now.
Yeah,
You're my sport mate because we're both tall and very muscular women and we're scary and it works for
perfect.
sports. So we're
perfect, yeah.
made for each other.
It's true.
Okay, so Oregon was great. Then you went to Calgary campus and you did your master's there.
Yeah.
That's cool. How did you know? Did you always want to be a physio? Is
Yeah,
that how that started?
Yeah, and I mean, I had surgery on both my knees through college.
Okay.
And then I worked with an athletic trainer. We had a physio, like sport med doctors. So I did a bit of rehab. But I was always interested in, like, I went into physical education originally. And I was like, I don't know, like gym teacher, like something along fitness, like personal trainer. And then kind of went into like the rehab. And then I was deciding between occupational therapy and physiotherapy, but definitely more towards physio. And then just, fell in love with it and can't imagine doing anything else. So it's good.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Following your dreams, girl.
I know, yeah.
Sometimes it takes blowing out 2 knees to figure out what you want to do.
Who needs knees, eh?
Yeah. Who needs them?
Who needs them? See what you did there?
You bring out the dad jokes in me, Laura. Just looking at you, I just want to make ridiculous.
I'm dressed like a dad right
You
now.
actually look like a 40-year-old, like not even 40's not even old anymore, like a 60-year-old grandfather. Like,
I mean, I think that's a compliment. I'll take it.
yeah, you know what? Yeah, take it. Wearing running tights though, so he's clearly has an agenda. Okay, so you went to Calgary campus. And then from there, you moved to Victoria, and you did a couple months there. Am I getting this right?
No, so I was on the island first, and then
island, and then Calgary,
back to Calgary,
and then you came here, and you did
Edmonton.
You did Edmonton.
Yeah.
No, this happens every time.
I just traveled around a little bit, and then.
Well, no, I love that though.
Yeah.
That's what keeps life interesting, and I feel like that's the cool part about education is that you have an excuse to go to all these places.
Yeah.
That may otherwise be random.
Yeah.
You have an excuse to leave, and people don't even, pressure or like ask you twice. They're like, "Oh, you do want to get the heck out of Edmonton," but you're like, "Oh, but I have a really great job opportunity," and people are like, "Oh, yeah, nice."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Well, I moved back to Edmonton for the job because it was I had a placement there as a student and just fell in love with the clinic. I had just the most amazing mentor.
Do you want to mention the clinic?
Pivotal Physiotherapy.
Pivotal in Edmonton?
Yeah. Actually just won Best Physio Clinic in Edmonton.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
Laura was there, that's why I won.
Yeah. They won it after I left. I don't know what that means.
They finally won after Laura left.
Coincidence. I don't know.
Oh, finally. Oh my God. That's good. Okay. Yeah. I've actually seen this clinic. It's kind of it's in Oliver, right?
Yeah, they have a
I think
few.
It's right by the Good Life.
The Brewery
there.
District one was the one, that I worked at. It was really nice, and then they also worked out of Evolve Strength and Conditioning Gym.
Cool.
So yeah, really good network. That kind of helped shape my career, and then that's why I accepted the Sport Physiotherapy Fellowship, and then moved here, and then worked at UBC right up until the pandemic. But with a ton of sport teams, and it was amazing. Like football and basketball, did some rugby work, just all of it. And then, right now sports aren't really happening, but it was a really cool experience. You see some cool injuries.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
Yeah.
You see some fit bods coming in there. Okay, amazing. So then you've been working in North Van at Almagavin for the past, how long?
May, it'll be a year.
Okay.
May, yeah.
Congratulations.
Anniversary.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's adorable. So, okay. So I feel like that's the educational journey. We got it. I mean, are you still, I don't know, you don't have to take any more exams, do you? Or like, what's the kind of, can you continue learning? I guess you can accrue more skills, right? As a physio or?
Yeah, so usually you take more courses. So like I'll get needling, you can take manipulative courses, more hands-on therapy courses. I started a journal club with some friends back home. So we just review articles, do it once a month, kind of present them. Because you want to be up to date on kind of like all the new evidence. Because everything's changing, new stuff is coming out. There's new like injection type therapy, all this different stuff, different ways to treat. Like there used to be this huge passive intervention. Patients would come in, you'd put like some stim and heat on them, barely hands-on, or like do a lot of machines like ultrasound, which, I mean, all that stuff is just shown there's no evidence. And so we kind of steer clear of it. We do much more like hands-on, and then like my practice is a ton of exercise focused. So it's always going to be like number one, most evidence-based treatment for most injuries, like getting the body moving, proper loading. And so, yeah, you can take more courses, but yeah, you definitely want to have like a pretty strong exercise-based practice.
That's up to date.
Yeah.
So you're not looking like some like archaic.
Yeah, because everything's changing. There's
Yeah.
better studies coming out.
Yeah.
And it's just good to be informed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good for you, girlfriend. Love that. Okay, so now I've got the physio burning questions that
Okay,
I've been
I'm ready.
accruing over the past
Hot seat.
couple days, months, years, who knows? I've been to a lot of physio. Actually, I haven't been to a lot of physio myself. I've been a few times for various things like ankle problems. I was in a car accident once, I think, and I did like some whiplash. And I got the needling done, which was very strange feeling. So my experience is obviously very limited. I go to a chiropractor a lot because I'm like a loose joints girl. Like I've always got ribs popping out, like weird shit. But anyways, physio-wise though.
Okay.
How should people improve their posture? Because I know posture is a huge thing. It's very important. And I see people all the time like majorly slumped over. And I just think, oh man, like how do you... I don't know. What would you tell someone that has really bad posture? Like how to...
Yeah, there used to be like the school of thought that like perfect posture, so it was like earlobe in line with middle of shoulder, in line with hips, knees. Now they're kind of saying like some evidence is coming out just new posture is better posture. So basically means like your body doesn't like to be in these sustained static positions. So usually patients come in, they're like, oh, it's totally my posture. Yeah, there might be a component of it. Like certain muscles will fatigue quicker if you're hunched over in a desk. All those anti-gravity muscles, so all the muscles on your back, start to get sore and achy because you're putting a lot of stress on them. But usually, like, if you're just incorporating some movement into it, so you get up, start moving, walking, simple things like seated thoracic rotation, so just turning your body, stretching throughout the day, and generally, like, just staying active and taking breaks tends less emphasis, I would say, on, like, trying to get into this perfect posture and just kind of keep moving. You can change your desk setup a little bit, so your ergonomics are a little bit better, so you're putting less stress on certain muscles that may become overworked. So that's usually what I tell patients. And sometimes, like, if you're sitting all day, like if you have a desk job, sometimes the sit-stand desk is a good option. So you're not just sitting all day.
I want one of those.
Yeah, give your body the option to stand. And some companies, right, they'll pay for it. Like sometimes they just ask patients, like talk to human resources or talk to someone to see if you can get that sit-stand desk, because especially with the pandemic, everyone has these weird at-home work setups.
Totally, and they're totally trash.
Yeah, and your body's just not used to it, right? Like, you have a nice chair at work, you have that setup, you can sit stand, then people are working from kitchen tables and countertops, and they're leaning one way, and their body's just starting to tighten up. Like, we've seen a lot of people coming in with just, like, weird neck kinks and different aches and kind of back pain just from that stuff. So it's kind of just adjusting and finding ways to work around that.
I love that. Yeah, because I know I have a friend who has really, I would say, good posture, but it does seem a little stiff. So, like, and I work from home all day, and I'm always, like, hardcore at the desk. And I do find, like, I got to get up and, like, wander around a bit and kind of stretch and, like, flip around. Because I think that's where a majority of my injuries come from. It's just, I work out in the morning, and then I sit, and I'm stagnant all day.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that can't be good.
Yeah. It's nice if you can have, like, lunchtime breaks to do quick workouts and things like that. I'm the same, though. Like, I like working out in the morning. Obviously, I'm on my feet and moving around quite a bit throughout the day, but, yeah, just simple walks and things like that. If you have the flexibility in your schedule, too, right?
Yeah, totally. I like that. And that's easy to do, too. I feel like that's an easy, like, prescription you can kind of take away from that is like, oh, maybe I should just, you know, stand up more or, like, invest in, like, a proper setup.
Yeah.
It'll do me good. Love that. Okay. Good advice. Also, my next question was, should desk people be doing stuff throughout the day so they don't end up with back issues? And you just answered my questions. So you're fucking prepared.
Some strengthening stuff.
It's like you knew I was going to ask that. But strengthening, so desk people then, like myself, I identify as a desk person. Are there, like, specific exercises that you could do that would be better for you when you're sitting down? Like, is there certain muscles that you could strengthen, or, like, is there, I don't know, just prep work for the desk?
Yeah, well, I find a lot of people, if you're kind of have that constant slumped over posture, obviously the front of your chest, like your pecs and stuff will get tight, so you can do, like, simple things like pec stretches. I tend to, like, just feels really good if you have a foam roller and you kind of do those extensions over the foam roller, or even, like I said, like sitting at your desk, just doing those rotations or extending your back over the desk, like just opening up your chest after being in kind of that forward posture the whole time.
Being hunched.
Yeah, and then, like, a lot of time you'll get kind of pain in the back of your neck or pain, like tightness through your suboccipital, so right in the back of your head, the base of your skull. You can almost get headaches from them, cervicogenic headaches. So if you're in that forward posture, those tighten up, and then you start to develop those headaches. So you kind of do this, like, it's almost like a weird, I call it a double chin exercise. I tell people you want to have a little bit of a double chin. So you activate kind of like
Chins
the
are
deep,
sexy.
Yeah, deep neck flexors. You can't see me, but I'm doing it right now. And Monica's looking really impressed.
Yeah,
with my,
I am. I'm
my chin
like,
tuck.
damn, girl,
Yeah.
how many chins you got?
So if you're at the bar, like I tell people, you can pick guys up if you just do this, like
Yeah, if you just really get...
double chin it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's really good. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's
next-
very appealing. And I think, too, obviously, you know, if I see someone with doing that and they have so many chins, I'm going to think, wow, you really care about your neck health.
Like next Zoom meeting,
think-
just start.
Yeah, like maybe we should, you know, go for a drink or something. Like you care about your neck and
Yeah, exactly.
your neck safety.
Yeah.
Necks are important, man.
Necks are important. Yeah.
Okay. Also, what's one of the wildest, I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but I'm going to ask it anyway because I think it all the time. What's the wildest shit you've seen, like injury-wise? Like, is there anything you've just been like, where do I begin?
I've seen a picture of a crazy ankle fracture dislocation or the bone sticking out. I never saw it in person.
Okay.
I would say, like, when I worked at UBC, I saw some, like, I mean, just typical stuff, like shoulder
Right.
dislocations, like
Right.
some fractures, things like that. I do have on my caseload some crazy mountain bikers, and they've had some pretty extensive, like, compound fractures. So again, like bone sticking out, and I didn't see it at the time, but they
Right.
just get a ton of hardware put in there.
Totally.
And you just like see the x-ray and it just looks like they just took a drawer from Home Hardware and just started screwing stuff in. And yeah, like 20 screws in there, like plates. It's insane. And like wires, and you're kind of like, wow, you're like half robot now. That's what I tell them. So they feel a
Yeah,
little bit
it's
better,
like you are, like if there's any big magnets, like look out.
Yeah.
Or also maybe you're Wolverine.
Yeah.
Wolverine's sexy.
No.
I like Wolverine. He was always my biggest crush out of all the X-Men.
That's weird. I don't know.
You think that's weird?
I don't know. Who are the other X-Men?
I can't list them all.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to embarrass myself. Like maybe I could, but I love Wolverine. But anyways, that's wild. I have seen a few X-rays like that, and you just think like that has to be a drawing. Like that can't actually be someone's leg.
Yeah.
So like, what's the rehab for that then? Like, what's for that kind of rehab? Like, do you ever? I don't know. Like, I guess it's individually based, but like.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the joint too. Elbows get really
Right.
stiff. I find ankles, like it's hard to get that full mobility back. You can get pretty
Right.
close, and especially if you do proper rehab. Sometimes like the scar tissue, or if patients aren't doing exercises at home, it might not be perfect just with like the restriction in there. But for the most part, yeah, you kind of want to, the first thing is get the swelling down, get the mobility back, and then strength, and then like kind of full function. So they're doing everything they want to do. And yeah, some of these North Vancouver mountain bikers are like, I'm ready to get back on the bike. I'm like, maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Eventually, but they're
Yeah.
crazy. I was going to get into mountain biking, but I was like, man, I don't really want to break every bone
I
in
know.
my body. So.
I love the idea of mountain biking, but I feel like some mild biking,
Yeah.
mild mountains. But yeah, when like even watching those Vimeo, I used to have fun. I used to be on Vimeo quite a bit. I don't know why. I didn't have a laptop for a year, and I just was on Vimeo on my phone. Anyways, they have these mountain biking videos with like GoPro cams, and they're on these tiny little stretches that are like if you fall off, like you are like you're dead. Like there's no way you could survive that shit.
Yeah.
And then and I just thought, oh my god, these guys are insane. And then it does not surprise me at all that some of the wildest injuries you've seen.
Probably
Especially,
mountain,
especially North Van, like the whole
Yeah.
thing's mountains. I feel like even just biking there, it's considered mountain biking because you're
Yeah.
just up a mountain.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does not surprise me at all.
Yeah. There's people doing backflips and
Oh yeah.
yeah. Even Whistler, you get some crazy injuries from Whistler too.
Oh yeah, I bet.
A lot of like knees, like ACLs and stuff, which it's never good. I had a patient come in and I was like, you ruptured your ACL. And it's never the news you want to tell someone because you're
No,
like,
that's
it's
so
minimum
much
a
rehab.
year.
Yeah.
And they're like young and they just want to like be
Party,
active.
they just want to
or,
go
like,
hard.
Even athletes, right? Like you're telling them like, it's minimum a year. By the time you get the imaging surgery and start like rehab, like from the surgery to the time of return to sport, they used to say 9 months. It's actually closer to kind of to 12 months now before you should return.
Right.
And it's just like, that's detrimental, especially.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost career ending in some cases. Right?
That's devastating.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So say someone is like, oh man, I totally just like busted my knee. Like scenario, I'm playing soccer, I'm running. This happened to my friend's little brother a little while ago. And he just like was like, oh man, like he hurt his knee. He's like, something happened. should he go to a doctor first? Should he go to a physio first? Like, who's like the ideal person to like assess an injury, like a sports injury after you first get it?
Yeah, I would say physios for the most part.
Okay.
I mean, doctors have like that wide spectrum of knowledge for sure. I mean, if you're really worried about a fracture, then definitely go to the hospital or get an x-ray or things like that. But physios, we specialize in musculoskeletal injuries. So like anything to do with like bone, tendon, muscle. And then if we think, oh, it's not appropriate for physio, then yeah, we typically would refer on. But yeah, I have patients come in and they're like, oh, my doctor just like diagnosed me with this. And we do an exam and I'm like, nah, it's not, but it's like somewhat, it's in the region, but it's not exactly that. So, I mean, and sometimes like, even if you go to, you're not sure and you go to your physician, they might recommend you to physio either anyway. So it's not a big deal.
Right.
But
okay.
I would say, yeah, for something like that, like sports injuries, or you think you pulled a muscle or like sprained your ankle, then definitely stuff like that. Or even concussions, right? Like physios, we deal with concussions as well. Really? Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like what? Like how would you recoup someone who's been concussed?
So like a lot of time you'll get like neck, like whiplash, right? Depending if they hit their head, you'll have some like neck, like tightness around the neck muscles. You can get like vestibular issues, which we can help retrain, and then like issues with your eyes.
What's that?
It's like your balance, like your ear stuff.
So like stability.
Yeah.
I heard stibular. I'm like, tibula?
Tibula?
How does that fit in? Okay, keep going.
But yeah, sometimes you can have issues with eye tracking or something called nystagmus in your eyes. And you kind of get like dizziness or difficulty reading. And so we kind of assess all that. Sometimes you get referred on to specialists depending on how bad it is. But usually it's like, okay, let's get your neck mobility back, simple eye tracking exercises.
Oh my God, interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, football, you see a lot of football and rugby, just tons of concussions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rugby, like you're not even wearing a helmet and you're just like running full on in. Yeah. Rugby's a fun sport to watch, though. I just posted something today about women's rugby. But yeah, football too. I've seen all those movies like Concussion and like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
I
feel bad. I have never.
You never had
not
one?
that I've known. I did hit I did hit my head really hard one time playing soccer, but I was having like the game of my life. It was rec league and it wasn't even that long ago, and I was just scoring goals. Like I was on fire. I got absolutely taken out, and my like somehow someone took out my leg as I was kicking. So I kind of swiveled around and smoked my head on the ground. Yeah. And I got up and I was like, whoa, like that was hard. Yeah. Like, I hit it really hard. But I think I was okay after. Yeah. Maybe I definitely lost some brain cells, but whatever. Not
memory
noticeably.
loss. Anything.
Yeah. No, nothing majorly.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky that way. But
that's good.
Yeah, I know. I feel for people with concussions and stuff, because sometimes it you never really know what can come of it. Yeah. The brain's confusing. There's lots going on in there.
Protect the brain for sure.
Okay, another question. Is there like a really satisfying type of case that you get that you're like, oh, I really like these, or you're like, oh, this is like gonna be a fun case or like something fun to rehab? I mean, it's work, right? Like some things you look forward to more than others. Yeah. Not that doing something that's like maybe not your favorite thing to do. I mean, you love physio, so you love it all. But is there anything you kind of were like, oh, this is exciting. This is exciting to watch this progress, or like some fires you up more than the other?
Personally? Because I've had knee injuries, so like I really like treating knees only because I've been there. I'm obviously super comfortable treating them, and then doing like, depending what the patient wants to do, very sport specific, getting them back to everything. So doing like running, jumping in clinic, and kind of getting that strength back. But I mean, anything can be super satisfying. Like if I do a release on a person, immediately they have better range of motion or immediately feel better, less pain. Like there's nothing more satisfying than them coming in and then leaving feeling so much better. So I mean, just to see the progress of any patient getting better is so satisfying. But if I had to pick one, I like knees and kind of doing like very functional, fun training. And like I'll get patients on like squat racks and doing deadlifts and getting them working hard. So it's good. Like I like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sweat. I love that. And I feel like too, that's an opening thing for a lot of people who maybe haven't tried those type of exercises before too. Yeah. They're like, oh, here this whole time I could have been doing deadlifts, like I could have been doing this, and it's
Yeah.
preventative and proper form. That's such a good way to learn.
Yeah, and depending on what they have
teach people.
access to, right? Like a lot of people right now don't have access to that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do squat rack stuff if they don't have access to anything. But
Right.
I mean, you can do so much from home too and build strength that way. So
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you have access to is
True that. Okay. Well, I love that, watching people grow and like heal. That would be really satisfying. Someone comes in with a limp and then 3 months later they're walking out like perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yes, bitch, I did that.
Yeah. The patients come in and they're like, oh, my previous physio told me not to do this or not to walk. And I'm like, no, there's like such a big psychological component to physio too, right? Like pain
absolutely.
is not just at the tissue and just that tissue damage. Like it's so complex. And I mean, you think about like diet goes into it, sleep goes into it, and then that psychological factor, right? So when you see people, the more stress they get, the worse their pain has. So even at work, right? Like you can get postural kind of pain stuff, but you're also like, oh, are you super stressed out? And all of a sudden their pain spikes up, or they're not sleeping well, or there's other like life stressors, and that all contributes to your pain. And then like almost like this hyper awareness around it. And then kind of get into this chronic cycle where you're like, oh, I'm in so much pain, it's not going to get any better. And then that actually makes the pain worse. So you're just like kind of feeding into it.
Right.
So like that's one thing that I usually address even early on. I'm like, depending on what the injury is, right? Like I'm never like it's this great like upwards linear trajectory on how you're going to recover. It's always fluctuating. Like you're going to have ups and downs. Like overall it should be going up.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah,
You're gonna
like
have bad days.
Yeah, you're gonna have bad
Be ready.
days.
It's
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and especially for something
Expect it.
Yeah, like ACL where you're like an athlete or anyone, right? Like you're like, this is gonna be a long process. You need to take days off and like you know, and anything, you're not doing what you love. Like I love running and I've had points where I can't run and then I'm just miserable.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
it's hard.
And then I just keep doing it, which I probably shouldn't. So. And patients are like, I'm going to do this anyways. I'm like, well, I can't stop you.
Yeah.
It's going to make your pain worse.
Like, here's what's going to happen. I know exactly why you're going to do that because
Yeah.
I'm also like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you educate them on like risks and I mean, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. But yeah, you can advise against it for sure. But yeah, you're not doing everything you love and it's frustrating.
Totally.
It's terrible.
Yeah, that would take a toll. I mean, just before this episode, I was talking about my COVID experience and I was full on couldn't work out for like 10 or 11 days. And like that almost took a bigger toll than like it was unexpectedly really hard to not do that. But yeah, so healing is definitely like a lot of psychological.
Yeah.
There's a really good movie with Jennifer Aniston in it. It's called Cake, I think. I think it's called Cake, and she's just anyway, it's a really good movie.
Okay.
Her son dies anyways in like a car accident or something. She's driving and she just is in pain constantly. She doesn't want to heal. She goes to physio. She doesn't want to get better. And then at the end of the movie, that's kind of like I'm spoiling it. Spoiler, whatever.
I was just going to say, I'm looking it up.
You're not going to watch it. You're not going to watch it. It's the best movie. Honestly, Jennifer Aniston, like, I fuck with her after that. And she, finally, at the end of the movie, she's, like, accepted the loss of her son and was like, I'm going to get better. And it, like...
No.
And, and it was, like, a super magical moment. And, like, her therapist, everyone was so frustrated with her because they're like, do you even, like, want to get better? And she thought that if she was just suffering, she thought that she deserved to suffer and not to feel good.
Oh.
And I was like, girlfriend. But I wasn't like girlfriend. No. I didn't say that or think that. But it is amazing, like, mentally. It's like you got to want it. You can do all the physio. You can do all of you can go, you can show up, you can be there. But, like, whether you actually want it and want to get better and then take the bad days and take the good days with the stride. That's when it's gonna work.
Did you ever do like sports psychology type stuff when you were playing soccer?
No, because I did rec league soccer. Like I've never really done any like professional sports, I wish.
Yeah.
Not professional, but like important. Any sort of like remotely important sports. Although my brother might be listening to this and be like, what? Rio Terrace FC is important. Like my brother was my coach. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I know
this
all
is
your
professional.
Stats. Yeah, I've played like rec every sport. I did cheerleading, which was a whole bucket of injuries, but you don't see much of that here, do you?
I need to see your cheer moves at some point.
I can show you those anytime. later.
This podcast.
Okay, quick back to here. Is there any injury that's just untreatable?
I don't think so. I hope not.
Okay, sweet. I don't know. Like if someone comes in, they're just like, you're like, oh, we can keep going, but it's just what it is.
I wouldn't say so. Like even people with really like chronic or complex pain, there's always room for them to get better. Again, like you're looking into all those factors.
Yeah.
I would say like maybe a patient comes in and I'm like, oh, we need to get more than just physio. Like there's some aspects that are going to be out of my scope, right?
Yeah.
So then you refer on to other people, or then you build this network and this team.
Right.
So like if I refer a patient to massage, I'm always in communication with that massage therapist, or like I'm like, maybe we should refer you, like talk to psychologists, like maybe you need a component of that. But then also, yeah, maybe like usually like again, I'm not like really into prescribing medication, but in some cases you need it, right? So then okay, let's talk to a sport med doctor, talk to your physician, let's try to get the pain under control, inflammation out of control, get the fix to that, and then kind of like all come together as a team. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's anywhere I'm like, oh, I absolutely can't, but there's somewhere I'm like, you know what, like I think
you need help.
Yeah,
like,
I think you need more help. It's not just physio. Like we need a team, or yeah, maybe I'm like, oh, this needs surgery, then we refer on, like get a second opinion, or if patients come in and they're just not responding well and they're not improving, then I'm like, let's think of something else. Let's refer you to someone else. Or, I mean, not everyone's going to respond perfect, especially like to the way how I treat or another physio treats. Like everyone's going to treat differently. Some people will respond, some people won't respond to your treatment well. And I'm just like, you know what? Like if you're not responding to mine, let's find another solution.
Absolutely.
So it's,
I love that. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So people out there.
Yeah. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Laura will treat you in some way, shape, or form.
Do my best. I'll do everything I can.
And if all those fail, she'll show up to your house in a shark costume.
Inflatable shark costume. I will tell a lot of dad jokes at work.
She will tell a lot of dad jokes, and she'll be in an inflatable shark costume, which is a whole other. I'll provide photos.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. Well, that provides a lot of optimism, I think, and I think a lot of people get in that stuck phase where they're like, oh, nothing's gonna help. Like I was saying, this chicken cake, same vibe, but what's an injury that has kind of the easiest time recovering?
I don't know. It all depends on the severity of an injury.
Right.
So, I mean, you could have like just like a muscle strain and it could recover really quick. You could have a more severe muscle strain. Like there's different grades to everything. Even ankle sprains, right? Like sometimes the ligaments just stretch. Sometimes it's partially torn. Sometimes it's completely torn. I would say it would probably depend more on the severity. Sometimes people come in and they just like fall and it's more of just honestly like a bruise and some swelling. And I'm like, oh, like, just like offload it a bit, get the swelling under control, and then you'll be totally fine.
Right. Okay. Bruises.
Yeah. Bruises. That's like the quickest.
Yeah.
But sometimes like people just want to come in and be like, I just want to make sure like I don't have damage to anything else. Like no ligaments, nothing torn.
That's me every time. I'm always like, I have a wild bruise that looks crazy, and I'm like, what is this? And people are just like, I can't believe that's a bruise, but it is.
Yeah.
So, okay, good to know. So is there anything, I guess you did kind of cover this. I'm like, what can't a physio do? Like what separates you from a chiropractor or like massage therapist? But I guess those people, like you're kind of I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Okay, I'm ready.
But you're kind of the combo of a massage therapist and a chiropractor. So someone who sees the connection maybe more between the two with like a sports twist, whereas chiropractors are more skeletal people and then massage therapists are more muscle people. That's what I think.
Yeah, in some ways, right? Like, I mean, chiros, like, people used to think, oh, chiros, you just go in, you get a manipulation, and then you're out. And, like, I'm sure there are chiros that do it. You're in and out really quick. They manipulate you. You're on your way. I think now chiros, like, the education system they're doing a lot more, like, they will do, like, muscle release and manipulations and give exercises. So, like, people, like, I have patients come in all the time. They're like, should I go to chiro? Like, yeah, if you have a good chiro, or if you've done it in the past and you've responded well, yeah, why wouldn't you?
Right.
But I'm a little bit hesitant when I'm like, oh, they just go in and the chiro's like, come in every week and get manipulated.
Right.
And then, like, they're not giving exercises to maintain that manipulation. Same with physio. If you go to physio and they're just putting heat and, like, what we call a TENS machine, like a tingling machine on you, not touching you and not giving you exercises, I'm like, maybe they're not doing their part. So, I mean, there's good and bad in any of them.
Right.
A lot of the time, we'll, like, refer people to, like, combination, like, physio massage or physio chiro. Sometimes if people are just super tight or have a lot of injuries, massage appointments, like sometimes ours are only 30 minutes, massage are 60 minutes. I'm like, yeah, like you'd benefit from getting like full 60-minute just ton of release because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And then again, as long as you're following it up with like some active rehab,
right.
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. We need everybody.
We need everyone.
So people always are like, can you crack my back? Like, you know, people that say that, they're like, oh, can you crack my back? Like, do this, like walk on my back and stuff. That shit always freaks me out. I don't want to do it. Growing up, my mom was a massage therapist, so she was always like, don't do that. Don't crack things. Don't do that. Is that bad to do? Like, I don't know. What do you know? Like, what's your experience with this?
It's not bad to do. Like, a lot of people like the sensation. I crack my back all the time. A lot of the time, it's just like, it's almost like a pocket of air in the joint. And it's just that's what's cracking. Doing it, like, constantly, there might be, like, I mean, you could potentially have, like, an instability in your back or something like that. Usually, that's not the case. It's just, like, these joints that have a bit more movement, and then you're just almost just releasing that gas bubble. There's been, like, a lot of people used to say, like, cracking your fingers would cause, like, arthritis.
Right.
There's been a bunch of studies, and there's been no studies that have linked, like, a ton of knuckle cracking. It's just more annoying than anything, I think.
Right.
Like, the kid in class
Super
that's, like,
fucking annoying.
cracking their knuckles.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, same thing as what I mentioned with chiro. Like, if you're doing it constantly and then just not following it up with any active rehab, then okay, like, maybe let's try to figure out what's going on or try to prevent, like, that being the way you're getting the release.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, just getting some strengthening component in there, too. But, yeah, it also depends on your joints and genetics, too.
Yeah, pockets of air. So your back's just ripping some ass. I had to say it. Kenny was thinking it. We're all thinking it, but that's good to know. I mean, I know it's...
It sounds like something. I
had to just say it. I know that. I know.
It's like when people always come in, they're like, my knee's super noisy. You know, like you just have like random, like...
my ankles, girl. They got stories to tell, those things.
Yeah, and they freak out. I'm like, if it's not painful, it's...
Right.
Yeah, like, it's fine. And if anything, it just means like your joint's lubricated.
Don't look at me in the eye and say lubricated, Laura. Don't do that. We're working. We're busy.
You were the one who made eye contact with me.
I like making eye contact. I'm trying to do more of it. Okay, so cracking your back's fine, whatever. Just don't be crazy about it. Don't be excessive. Okay. Ooh, another question. The more muscle question.
Okay.
Say you grew up playing a certain sport.
Okay.
For example, hockey.
Yeah.
Younger. So you grew up playing this. And then you haven't played for a while. You play rec league or whatever. Are there any certain muscle imbalances that certain sports have more than others? Like, is there any sort of exercises that someone who's doing that should do over other sports or like over other exercises? Like, is there any sort of, I don't know, I guess I'm getting at like developed muscle imbalances. Like, how do you combat that?
So you're saying if you go into a sport at a really young age, and that's the only sport you do, kind of like what's the long-term effects of that?
Is it like muscularly?
It could.
Does it
like
make a difference? I don't know.
It can potentially. So again, like there's some research. Yeah, you should get Shalane on because she's really good at talking about this stuff. But like early, they're trying to steer parents away from early sport specialization in kids because then you're not necessarily getting that full balance of different muscles and different activation if you're only putting them into one thing. A lot of the time you can get more overuse injuries if that's the case because you're just doing that repetitive loading in one sport. It's not for all sports, say like maybe like a lot of like jumping, landing, but like, you got to take in for kids like growth plate considerations. Like you can get like fractures, like different types of injuries in kids because they still have those growing pains and aches. So yeah, if anything, like it's good to have that variety and then specialize because you could potentially get muscle imbalance if you're doing like the proper training. I wouldn't say that's always the case.
Right.
So I mean, it's like anything though. Like when I was rowing, I think like half our team at one point was injured because it was just like our coaches were just it was like 4 hours a day just rowing.
Right.
And
so
we
just
weren't doing
overuse
enough
of the same muscles over and over again.
Yeah, you want to do like
joints.
some strength training, some cross training. But if you with anything, right? Like if you overload it, you do too much at once, then you're gonna get an injury. So if you increase your training volume all of a sudden, or you suddenly like lots of people again with the pandemic started do like running more, just doing one thing a lot more.
Right.
And then your body's not used to it, and then it gets overloaded, and then all of a sudden you get all these injuries.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I guess I asked too because I grew up playing soccer, and in soccer, like you kind of plant with one foot and kick really well with one. Then the other one's a little like, so like I kick with my right foot, so my left leg I found was super stable all the time.
Yeah.
And then my right leg had like no stability and no control. And like I also kind of think one butt cheek of mine is like bigger than the other.
So women actually, more than men, will have a leg dominant like discrepancy, and women are more prone to like ACL because of that, ACL injuries.
Oh, I see.
So like especially young female athletes, and then you get like weaker hamstring. So hamstring is kind of like the one. Your ACL prevents your lower leg bone from going forward, which your hamstrings also do. So if you're weaker in the hamstrings, or you have like weird body mechanics where your knees dropping in, all that stuff, and especially more in females, so like just the way our pelvis is, the angle of our knee, things like that, we're more susceptible to those injuries. So that's one. Yeah. That's one you want to keep an eye on, like, for prevention, like staying on top of that with strengthening.
Yeah.
But yeah, like women, I don't know exactly why women more than men will have that leg dominance. So you probably do, yeah. So don't get an ACL injury. Don't.
Oh, I won't.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't go full in soccer or sports anymore. I don't even do it. I barely even run because I just like, I'm afraid. I need my knees.
Just beach volleyball all summer.
Beach volleyball, girl. You know what's happening. What's the best workout to do if you only have 10 minutes?
If you only have 10 minutes, I would honestly say just like squats, lunges, push-up, like just the typical stuff. Like just try to hit most
basics,
of the
big muscle groups.
Kinda. Yeah.
Okay.
Not just like running for 10 minutes. Honestly, I would probably say more like the strengthening, but
okay.
Yeah, if you could do that. And it doesn't take up a lot of room, right? Like you just get like a little mat in the corner of your room.
Yeah.
But in general, I would say anything that you like doing. Like if you don't like yoga, don't do yoga. Like find something that you actually enjoy doing, because then your adherence to it is going to be way better.
Absolutely. Good advice. So does cardio, we'll wrap this up soon. Does cardio burn fat? I see all these ads. Okay, this is me being like on Instagram way too much. Cardio doesn't burn fat. I get all these weird ads. Like, is that just a fucking myth? Like, is that not true? Like, what the hell is this about?
Yeah, I mean,
what are people on about?
So one, again, it's a lot to do with diet, right? Like, yeah, you could work out as much as you wanted to, but if you're not eating healthy, you're not going to burn fat. Right. It comes down, like, so there's all these crazy diets, right? Like, I looked into all this stuff, too. I'm like, there's keto diet, like, there's Mediterranean diet, there's just, like, no carb diet. Like,
anything you
could
want,
just, like,
diet it.
Yeah, you could honestly go on, like, new diet every single day of the year. The summary is calories in versus calories out, right? So if you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to burn more calories. You're going to lose weight that way. Okay. If you're intaking more calories than you're burning, you're not going to lose weight.
Right. So it has nothing to do with cardio.
No.
Right? Or like not, people are like, oh, because lifting weights burns more fat than cardio. This is all a myth, right? This
it just depends what you're doing.
It's just calorie intake.
Yeah, calorie intake, and then like no matter what you want to do, like I would say you want to do some strengthening a week, right? Like that's like based on our physical activity guidelines, like working, like do some strengthening component 2 to 3 times a week, the standard like 150 minutes a week kind of thing. Yeah. But again, you just find things that you actually enjoy doing and have a combination of it and all in balance. But I mean, if you love just walking, then just do that, right?
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, another thing that I literally just saw today that I sent to my friend because I thought it was hilarious. So now there's a hula hooping trend coming around. And I don't know if people remember this, but there used to be a hula hooping thing a couple years ago when I was a young girl. I was like 10. People were all about hula hooping. They're like, hula hooping makes you lose weight. Like people lose weight by hula hooping. It's almost like a...
Okay, I'm gonna get a hula hoop.
I can't believe I'm saying this out loud as an adult.
Give me 1 month.
I am really fucking good at hula hooping. I also just wanted to come on and say that because needs to be public knowledge.
I think you have to post a video of this.
I will. I'm sure I'll find it. I'm really good at hula hooping. But now I just saw this ad. Maybe I can find it for you. Of this girl hula hooping being like, I won't find it for you. It's too hard to find. But this chick hula hooping being like, yeah, look at how skinny my waist is now because I've been hula hooping. That's crazy, right?
Well, I feel like you get some good, ab activation. I don't think you would burn that many calories.
Right? You have to do it for you have to do it all day.
Yeah.
I guess pandemic people have time for this shit.
You could do anything all day.
I don't have time for this shit.
I do want to see
I thought that was crazy. I'm like, there's no way. I just couldn't believe that fitness trend was coming around again. I was like, looping.
What happened to the planking? Remember when people used to plank?
Oh yeah, plank.
But not even like the actual like plank, just like just the other planking.
Yeah, and people were dying planking.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but it's a
Dying?
little questionable. Yeah, there was like, isn't that a thing? Like people were doing really questionable planking all over the planet, and it didn't go well.
I remember the Tide
between
Pods.
buildings and stuff.
Oh,
This is probably fake. My brother probably told. This is like shit my brother would say to me, and I would believe it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all of your knowledge. Those are all of my questions.
Well, I'm glad.
Physio questions.
Yeah.
Now I have some other more personal, deep questions for you. Thank you. That's so helpful, though. Fuck, you're knowledgeable. So, where do people find you at Alan McGavin Clinic?
Yeah.
Laura McNeil, hit her up on Instagram. She'll find you. She'll treat you. She'll get you an appointment.
I'll find you.
She'll do something for you.
It's like the movie Taken. She'll find you.
She will find you.
I don't know about that.
She will find you and she will do good things for you.
Yeah.
Or she'll answer your questions or whatever. And also, yeah, because she's great. Rapid fire round
Okay.
of quick questions. Do you have a song stuck in your head right now?
I don't think so. Whatever's playing next door, though.
Yeah, there is some music absolutely banging next door. Like, I wonder who it is. Tim Hortons or Starbucks?
I gotta say Starbucks.
Yeah, same.
Tim Hortons coffee sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Uh-oh. I really like to say that.
Favorite hangover food?
Oh, waffles.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, fucks with some
Syrup.
waffles.
Yeah.
What's the last picture on your phone of?
My dog Moose.
You don't want to check, or is that
I'm pretty, like, I could almost guarantee. It might actually be a picture of the sunset at the beach before I came here,
Right.
but it's either that
or Moose. Moose is a little angel boy
Yeah.
who's just, not the sharpest tool, but
No,
he
pretty
means
dumb.
well. He means well.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sport to play?
Beach volleyball, probably.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah. Volleyball for sure.
Beer or wine?
Ooh. I want to say beer now. I think I'm into beer.
What kind of beer?
I like IPAs.
Ooh.
Yeah.
She classy. What's your favorite snack food? Do you have like a go-to
Popcorn.
snack? Oh, yeah.
Or
like
ice cream. But I don't know if that's a snack food. That's more of dessert.
Yeah, ice creams. If you're eating ice cream as like a snack, I mean that's.
Yeah.
How do you make your popcorn though? Like,
I usually buy like the
the
skinny,
boom chicka
skinny
pop?
pop. Yeah.
The white cheddar shit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking good.
Yeah.
No shame there,
I'm
girl.
so glad you know what I'm talking
No shame. That's just delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wrote these questions 3 years ago, but this is funny. Would you rather be single forever or only meet people through OkCupid?
I don't even know. What is OkCupid? Is that like Tinder? But
I don't know.
OkCupid?
I think it's like Plenty of Fish.
Like Coffee Meets Bagel. Have you heard of all these? There's so many now. I can't keep up with dating apps.
Oh, it's such a hot thing. Anyways,
I think single forever. I mean, I'd pick that no matter what the other option was.
OkCupid, who the fuck's on OkCupid? Oh my God, phone me or message me if you're on OkCupid. I want to see some of your matches. Okay, pulp or no pulp?
Oh, no pulp.
Yeah, no pulp.
Ugh.
Favorite show on Netflix?
I have Friends. It's always a classic. I don't even
Friends?
think it's on there anymore, though.
You're not really like a TV series person, are you?
I haven't watched a lot of TV lately, but
That's all good. iPhone or Android?
iPhone. Yeah.
Favorite cuss word?
Fuck.
It's a good word.
It's like the only one I can
What was the biggest challenge you found about moving to a new place? It's not a quick question. Sorry.
Well, moving to Vancouver is honestly meeting people.
Right.
Yeah. Till I met you, and then it was fine.
Right, and then it was fine.
Quality over quantity.
Girl. Stop it. I did pay her to say that, folks. I did. I will Venmo you after this. Or what do we do? E-transfer you after this. Any irrational fears?
I don't think it's irrational, but I am scared of the ocean because I got attacked once. You're in
By
the middle of the
what?
ocean, and they don't know. It might have been. I almost died.
Whoa,
It might have been a jellyfish.
wait. Tell this story.
Okay, so I was swimming in Mexico, and I was swimming with my dad and my best friend and her dad. It was when I was younger. And something wrapped around my leg, and it felt like a thorn bush, but then also like it was stinging me. And I was like, Dad, something just stung me. And he's like, no, it didn't. I went to shore.
Dads.
Yeah, and it was all red. And then basically over the next, I don't know, few days and weeks, my whole leg blistered, so it looked like a 3rd-degree burn, and all my skin was peeling off. Then it traveled up my leg. And then when I got back to Canada, my parents took me to the hospital because all of a sudden I just was like on the ground not moving. And my parents were like,
How old were you?
I don't remember. I'll show you pictures of
Like
it.
under 10?
It's probably around there.
Okay.
Between 10 and 12. What? And then they took me to the hospital, and then everyone was like, we don't know what this is, like call poison control. And then I crashed, and they had the crash carts ready, and then I was fine. So
Crash? Wait, what?
like I crashed, like I just like all of a sudden like they were ready to like resuscitate because I just like everything like
You
I think
died?
the toxins. No, I didn't die, but all the toxins hit my system at the same time is what they think, and then it just like my body had to just like flush it out.
Holy shit. So did they ever they never figured out like
I
what
think it was like some poisonous jellyfish, but I never saw it. So now when I swim in the ocean.
Yeah.
And like look down and it's just black.
Yeah.
Like it's so crazy. I'm like someone could grab me and pull me down and then I'd be gone forever.
That's a reasonable fear.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it happened.
And peeing on airplanes, that's my other one.
Really? You won't do it?
No.
I always had to pee on the airplane.
Yeah. Scary.
No, I am afraid to put my legs too far deep in any water.
Yeah.
Rational fear. I don't even think that's
Okay.
irrational. I think that's rational.
Okay.
My friend Alana, she was on here a couple episodes ago / years ago, and her irrational fear is fish. She's just scared of fish. And I'm like, I feel like fish are the least scary thing in the ocean.
Yeah.
Right? Like fish,
like
what are they gonna do?
piranhas,
Like,
but-
like,
Yeah.
like they don't even have teeth.
Blow bubbles at you.
Yeah, you just kick a fish. Like they're
Yeah.
useless. You can pick it up. They just
True.
flop.
Yeah. Especially
Anyway,
the little
whatever.
ones. Yeah. All right.
But that's scary. Okay, that's a totally rational
Okay,
fear. Mine's
okay.
balloons, so I don't think
Balloons?
that,
Like hot air balloons or little balloons?
little tiny birthday balloons.
I'm gonna get you so
I
many
try-
balloons for your birthday this year.
I'm trying to get over it. My friend Claire sent me a video today of someone making a balloon garland, like one of those big wedding balloon things.
Oh.
And it was like this girl just really manhandling these balloons, and she thought it was hilarious
And
that
that
she
scares
sent it
you.
to me.
I'm getting you
And I
balloons for your
actually
birthday.
sat through it, but I was like, you know what? I hate this. Claire, like, why did you send this to me? I hate this. And she's like, ha ha ha. And you know what? It helped though.
Okay.
She's helping me face my fear. So that's my rational fear.
I'm gonna get you some.
Because you all want to know.
May birthday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting you balloons.
Fuck you. So I don't tell you things, Laura. But in all reality, thank you so much for being
anytime.
my guest. I appreciate you, all of your extensive knowledge about physiotherapy and all of the human body. I really appreciate you sharing all of that, your time with us. This is great. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for
and
having me.
My absolute pleasure. This was super fun.
Okay.
I learned a lot today.
We'll have some wine next time we do this.
Absolutely. We both decided to not drink this month. Don't know why. Regretting it instantly, but here we go.
Yeah, we were sober this whole time.
Sober this whole time. Shocking. I know. It's like almost 9 p.m. on a weekday and we're sober. We're trying really hard. Yeah. Sometimes things are harder than they seem.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening, you guys. Thanks, Laura, again for being on here. Thank you, Kenny, for being legit as always. And I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. Welcome to Afterthoughts. Thanks so much for listening to that interview. I thought that was super fun. Laura is obviously an amazing guest to have on. She's so lovely. She's so smart. She knows everything about the human body. If you're ever with her and you need some sort of massage, she will absolutely rock your world, my friends. A couple things I wanted to go over real quick. I didn't mention in this podcast that I'm looking for sponsors, but guess what I am? You want to sponsor me, hit me up. Happy to collaborate, figure something out. You know, I'm here for it. I love collaborating. Let's do it. Just snuck that one in there. Now to the actual thoughts. Okay, so at the very beginning, I mentioned Laura is beautiful and also a physiotherapist, which is why I want to be friends with her. No, there's so much more. She's hilarious. She's really silly. For example, her and I went trick-or-treating last year. Yes, during the pandemic, wearing costumes. It was amazing. We got so much candy, and yeah, that happened. We were completely serious about it. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard at anything as an adult. Like it was honestly freaking hilarious. And just do it. Like everyone should just go trick or treating. Like why just the little kids? Like where in some world was it just the little kids that got this? Like where was that rule? I don't see a rule. I'm not embarrassed. I'm going again next year. I don't care. Okay, that's up there. I think that solves those questions I'm sure that were burning for you. We talked about some home desk setups. Yeah, there's some pretty bad ones out there. Sometimes I work like from my bed, like on my stomach, like ooh, all bent, all strange. I turned my island the other day. Like I have a little countertop in my kitchen. I turned that into a standing desk the other day with some books, and it was pretty ratchet, but it was kind of nice to stand up rather than I'm so used to sitting. So give that a go. I don't know. Send me a picture. I mean, if you have a really ratchet one specifically, if you have a nice one, I don't want to hear about it, honestly. Keep that shit to yourself. I don't want bragging. I want ghetto. I want ghetto. Another thing I thought was interesting was the pockets of air in the joints cracking. Like, I crack my hips. Oh, ankles. Everything's cracking all the time. So that was good to know that's a normal thing. I always thought I was going to end up with like a fractured body from doing it. But no, it's normal and it's totally healthy to do. So that's fine. That bit of a relief there. Thanks, Laura. I can sleep at night now. But also what she was saying about chiropractors, how they just kind of do a manipulation on you and then you leave and that's kind of it. I actually noticed that, like, one of my chiropractors I used to go to a lot. I would have to go like sometimes twice a week or 3 times a week for my neck. And then I actually went to a massage therapist. They kind of fixed it. I should have gone to a physio this whole time. I don't know what I was thinking, but this a couple years ago now. And then recently I had the same neck thing kind of kick back up again. And I went back to a chiropractor, but a different one this time, who's actually a bit younger, my age. And he did some manipulations, but he also did some muscle releases, which my other chiro hadn't done on me before. And he's like, oh, do you get headaches? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, goes right in with his hands and just freaking like cranks out these muscles at the back of my neck. And I was like, holy, felt so good. It was like, so one of those like really good pain release things in the back of my neck. Oh, anyways, no more headaches after that. Completely relieved. So anyway, and like my neck problem didn't really come back. So what she's saying about the whole, like, you know, you need a combination of things. She's totally right there. Like, even from my own experience. Well, I mean, obviously she's right, but I have experienced that from my own injuries that I've had to try and cover and repeatedly treat, especially chronic ones. It's so annoying having to go back. It's like $50 each time. You don't want to pay that. So anyways, if it's not working, try something else because, you know, there's going to be something out there that will work. So I love that. We talked about our irrational fears. I didn't realize Laura died when she was 10. That was a fucking surprise to me. That was news. Good to know. But I always knew there was something a little off about that girl. I'm totally kidding. But yeah, that was wild. I mean, I'm scared of balloons, but I feel like the ocean's a lot scarier. So I think that's a rational fear. If you're scared of the ocean too, you know, hit me up. We can talk about it. If you've had any other weird ocean stories happen to you, please tell me. I'm very curious now. Also, yeah, just a final note, like if you want to sponsor me, I mean, I'm not trying to sound desperate here, but you know, your girl wants to flex some sales muscles on y'all's ears. So yeah, I'm definitely open to it. But I appreciate you guys listening to this interview. Hope you enjoyed these afterthoughts, few tings here and there. And I am very much looking forward to putting out the next interview next week. I don't know who it'll be, but it's going to be amazing. So stay tuned and you'll hear from me soon. Love ya.